What is up, good people? Jungle Inc. here. Hope you're doing well. This video sponsored by junglelinkxrp.com. Link down below. Check out this article about meme coins. That's what we're going to talk about here today. And if you're like me, you think meme coins are kind of stupid, kind of silly, pretty much just gambling. And while I'm not going to sit here and suggest that you invest in any meme coins, you may like to do so. That's not what we're going to talk about here. We're going to talk about using this as an indicator of where the real economic activity is going to take place. And we've seen this so many times throughout cryptocurrency history. People see something like this starting to build, they dismiss it, and it's just a precursor. What we see going on right now on Solana, what's happening on SWI, what is starting to build on the XRP ledger, these are precursors to massive economic moves, and I think you should pay attention. We're going to walk through some of these types of moves throughout cryptocurrency. The early days of Bitcoin, undesirable activities as an indicator. Many of you may remember this. Bitcoin, now the most recognizable and widely held cryptocurrency, has had some questionable beginnings. Wasn't always a token to be held by BlackRock or Fidelity, major financial investors, hedge funds, endowment funds. It wasn't like that back in the day, was it? In its early years, much of its volume came from undesirable transactions related to the Silk Road. Drugs, murder for hire, all sorts of bad stuff. And at the time, many critics pointed to this as a major flaw in Bitcoin's use case, but it wasn't a problem with Bitcoin. It was just the way people were using the technology. However, in retrospect, this activity highlighted the core proposition of Bitcoin, a decentralized, censorship-resistant currency. While no one would argue that these types of activities that were going on, they're undesirable, it's clear that Bitcoin's early use cases weren't purely speculative noise. They were a signal, a beacon to tell you what the future was. There were early economic flows, and they were coming from undesirable sources, but these flows laid the groundwork for what would become Bitcoin's rise to mainstream adoption. It's not always pretty in the early days. Do we have other examples of this? You bet we do. A lot of you can relate to this. 2020, 2021, what was the craze? Yield farming, another speculative boom in cryptocurrencies. Binance Smart Chain really attracted a frenzy of users looking to earn massive returns, unrealistic returns from staking in these liquidity pools. And at its peak, yield farming, it really felt like the Wild Wild West. I remember at the onset of that bull run, I was DMing DM Logic. I'm like, man, which one of these are we getting involved in? Because this is crazy. We got to get in on this. And what was the easy answer? What was the correct answer? Are you going to wade through the thousands of yield farming to find the one that might last long enough for you to make a bunch of money? No. The easy answer is you buy BNB, you buy Binance Coin, because that's where all this activity was forming. At that time, BNB was $50. You made a lot of money. You're still up huge at today's prices. And this next bull run really hasn't begun for altcoins yet. It's going to. That was the right answer. Follow those flows. Offering ridiculously high APYs, and many inevitably collapsed under the weight of unsustainable promises. So you looked at that, you're like, that's gambling, that's stupid. Yeah, that's true. Maybe don't get involved in the crazy yield farming, but look at the underlying chain. What is actually the foundation for this? Because real economic flows are coming. Despite the chaotic nature of this trend, Binance Smart Chain thrived. It's the easy bet. It's the easy to see in retrospect, and I think we're going through this again with meme coins. Again, you're seeing some chains really excel here. Hopefully it continues on the XRP ledger. I think it's going to bring a lot of liquidity and a lot of development. As people say, you know what, if I build an app on the XRP ledger, people will use it. We see people using these meme coin apps, leveraging, Telegram, stuff like that. It's going to be massive. Even if, a lot of the people betting in these meme coins are losing, for the ecosystem long term, it's going to be a win. The influx of liquidity, users, and developer attention that came from yield farming was the precursor to BNB's rise in value and Binance's continued growth. What looked like a speculative mania at the time turned out to be a catalyst for long-term blockchain growth. Yield farming attracted capital, attention, and this paved the way for more legitimate and sustainable projects on the Binance Smart Chain. This pattern, where speculative activity precedes real economic growth, it just seems to be repeating time and time again with blockchain. When you look at bull runs, that's what it's about. A speculative mania that brings in a bunch of capital, a bunch of attention, a bunch of building, and it takes us through to the next bull market. This is how kind of crypto works, in its early days at least. Right now, meme coins are making headlines. This is the trend to follow. Solana, its Gigacoin, for example, it just hit $600 million in market cap. Absolutely massive. Sui, another rising blockchain, is seeing strong meme coin ecosystems emerge, and XRP as well. If you're in the XRP community, you know that's the craze right now. Everyone getting involved in meme coins. Those systems are gaining traction, users, liquidity. It's easy to dismiss these developments as hyper-driven bubbles that will eventually pop, and they will. But it doesn't just leave disappointment in its wake. If history's any guide, there's a heck of a lot more to it than that. So what does some nonsense like meme coins, gambling, what does this bring to blockchain? Well, liquidity and user engagement. Meme coins, like any speculative asset, attracts liquidity. When people start buying into meme coins, they bring capital into the blockchain system. That's important. Number 2, developer activity. When user base and liquidity grows, developers follow. They're looking for where they can build something and gain capital, growth, and users. Meme coins can provide that. Number 3, capital culture, or cultural capital, I should say. In a way, meme coins can represent a shared identity for many in crypto. Communities form around them. What I would say is, for the really big ones. And we've seen the Flokis and the Doge and coins like this. They're around for a long time. They build a community, but that's not going to be the case. They're going to shoot up in value. They're going to pull the rug out, and that's all they wrote. So understand that. If you play in this game, most are going to crater to zero. That's what you're playing with, but they're going to lay the foundation for more sustainable value in the future. Number 4, it's really an early signal of growth. If we consider historical patterns, Bitcoin's early use cases, undesirable use cases, Binance Smart Chain's yield farming boom, it becomes clear that speculative activity often precedes real economic growth. This has happened time and time again in crypto. We dismiss something, we say that's stupid, that's not sustainable, and why we are correct on that, we miss the bigger picture, that a lot of liquidity and development and users are going to come flocking to these blockchains. Get ready. Now, the cautionary note here. I'm not suggesting meme coins are some sort of sound investment. I know some people out there do. They think they're going to emerge and be an actual asset class. And look, I'm not the greatest investor out there. Maybe they do. But in my opinion, that's not the case. Personally, I stay away from them because of their speculative and gambling-like nature. I'll throw a couple bucks on one from time to time. I'm not right now, but it's simply a gamble for me. But I think it's important really to recognize these speculative trends, as often they highlight where real economic flows are starting to build, and that's what really matters. Let me know down below what you think. Is there something to this? Should we be tracking chains, seeing who's having success with meme coins as an indicator of future economic flows, or is it all a bunch of nonsense and just ignore it? As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.